talk more about that.
It's the righteous vigilante Jamon Creek, and you're tuning in to Minds Wide Open. Hey, yo, check it out. This is Namestream, never mainstream. You're tuning in to Minds Wide Open Media.
Shout out to the Florida Vibe Directory. You are now listening to the best playlist in South Florida.
Yo. We're back with another episode of the Florida Vibe Directory. Today, I'm here with my mans. He's a painter, fashion designer, furniture accessories. What am I missing?
No, you're right.
I got everything? I got everything?
Yeah.
I'm here with my man, Carela. You mind lifting up the hat? Let the people see your face. Let the people see your face. Stop being shy.
Nah, you good. What's good? I'm Carela.
How you doing today?
Been good, man. Been good.
Been good.
Vibing.
So what you been up to? Tell the world about yourself.
Woo. Well, my name is Carela, Alejandro Carela, and I'm a fashion designer and a painter, and do home decor as well. So pretty much, I'm infusing my skills all together for my brand of Carela, which introduces sneakers, footwear line, the home decor line, and then also some artworks. And the whole perspective is pretty much just elegant street art. That's what I'm trying to push out.
So what's the story, Carela? How did Corella get started? Because I know that's just your last name, but how did Corella, the artist, how did that get started?
I'll say probably like it's been 10 years now. So I'll say by 2012. In high school, I fell out the love of, the sports of baseball. And then I was trying to figure out something else that I love in. And I had a friend who wanted to who kept always saying, hey, we should do a clothing line and whatnot. And it was funny because I was like, man, I started looking into it, trying to figure out but I was like, I don't know if this is really the lane for me in a sense. But I was just a really big sneakerhead in high school. So I was like, man, something maybe I will do a clothing line, maybe not. I don't know. I had no idea at that time. After me and my homeboy here, we actually but it's by 2014, we linked up and
Shout the homeboy's name out.
Oh, Daryl. My fault. But yeah, me and Daryl after we linked up 2014, and he kind of just presented the whole art world to me in a sense. I saw him painting, and I was like, yo, how do you do this? How do you get into it? He's just like, bro, you just just paint.
Were you doing any type of doodling, drawing beforehand?
I used to draw back in middle school and in elementary, but I stopped that. My parents kind of pushed that to the side. They're like, nah, you gotta focus on baseball. So that's kind of just ended there, and they picked it back up into
Dominican story.
Yeah, pretty much. Household. In going in the future, then you get to the point where I'm like, all right, well, I want to pick something up and figure out what do I love, what's something new. So there, pretty much introduced me to painting, and then from that point, I started just getting random ideas of designs of from hats, and then from my own line. Then I was like, okay, well, what about if I do shoes and I have my own footwear? I jumped into AI, which is a Miami Art Institute. I was there for 6 months, dropped out, but in there I kind of picked up the rest of the skills of what is it that you need to learn how to what's the foundation of designing, the foundation of to create something. And then with that, I just kind of took off from there. I moved to New York. From here in Florida, I used to design for Fly Supply. And then from there, I moved to New York, designed for Macy's. And then the story goes on from there, different companies, different brands. And then by 2018, I had the courage to just do it for myself. I'm like, all right, let me just start Carela. Yeah.
What was that first product you did? What was the first official Carela product?
It was canvases. I did a little art, probably maybe 6 artwork, 6 little pieces, and then I'm one person bought it, and that just gave me the kind of that foundation where I was like, all right, this is actually something cool that I want to continue pursuing. And the more people support you, the more you kind of build that confidence of actually this can actually work. And then by 2018, I launched a whole home decor home decor line where I dropped throw pillows. That was my first thing, and then that's when I kind of saw all right,
fucking pillows.
Yeah, the pillows. That's when I was instead of me painting on the canvas, let me make something that it can market itself. And ideally, that's how I started to jump into home decor, because ideally, if you have there's home pieces in your house and someone comes in, they're gonna ask about it. Like, hey, where you get this, where you get that, and then that's something I don't have to market it at all.
It's like a different canvas. Like if you do a couch and you paint that, that becomes your canvas at the point. It's a piece of artwork.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm just trying to figure out like other options of art besides the traditional making a canvas.
And I know you do a lot of like community artwork. You like, I see you go to a lot of events. You do murals on walls and stuff like that. What got you into really working with the community?
Pretty much. By the time I moved back down from New York to Florida, I just kind of looked at it as like, if I want to be a part of something, and I want to showcase like it's like that we're building something here as a team in general, like as a culture. I got like some pretty much my first year I was just doing a whole bunch of like free artwork. Okay. So I'll go to like different like galleries and I'll just do like I'm like, hey, what you if it's a wall or benches and shit, and I'll just do it for free. And I'm just like putting in my work into the community, like showcasing like I'm also part of the community as well, and I'm putting my work in. So it's just pretty much what you're looking at is just a lot of free work that's going on. But once again, it's establishing relationships with the owners, and people are also now seeing my work more and more and more often, instead of just like me being a one-man person and saying, all right, well, let me push it out by myself, and you better fuck with me. Like, it's not realistic. Like, you just kind of have to you have to do your due diligence. With anything at all. Like, if you came to New York, it doesn't make you at all a New Yorker at that point. Like, you're not from New York, so you gotta pay your dues. So in the sense. So that's to me. That's how I looked at it. I was like, man, if I'm coming back to Miami, I want to change things up, but I also need to do things in a way where it's like respectful, and I'm actually I'm actually want to be a part of this, and I actually want to help other people, help other artists, showcase their work, because there's a lot of talent here in South Florida, but a lot of people feel discouraged and they feel like I have to get out of South Florida to get recognized, which there's a tactic to that, but it's not 100% true. Like, you can still get known in your city of your own work, but you really have to be a part of the city. You really have to run around and do a whole bunch of, you might have to do a whole bunch of free work. Hey, it is what it is. But you could look at it in all different perspectives. In the music industry, you could look at it as like if I had an intern for, let's say DJ Khaled for like 5 years, quietly. My name is never known. But in those 5 years, I'm building relationships. I'm understanding, people are always seeing me. So by the time when it's my time to come out, people know who I am. So it's just like that.
I've noticed that, watching you over the years, you're a real quiet and humble dude. Like, people wouldn't, if people only watch you on Instagram, people wouldn't really know how much, you really do out here. Like, what made you so, all right, this is how I want to move. I don't want to, I don't have to be my face be everywhere. You even have the hat covering your face. What makes you, because that's different from Miami. A lot of time people in Miami, they like being known. They want their pictures taken all the time. They want, they always putting something on Instagram. What made you so much nah, I'm just going to let my art speak for itself?
I'm not trying to be a celebrity. I'm just trying to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So I want the business, the brand, the artwork speak for itself. And my life will be private, and that's that. So ideally, it's we could push the work, we could do things, going forward with, and we could partner up with a bunch of different companies. But I'm not a celebrity at the end of the day. It's not about me. It's about the work that I'm doing. Sometimes people forget about that. I get it. We're in a different time frame. We're in a social media time frame where if I did put out my face out more or whatever it is, I'll get this more exposure. But I don't care for that, realistically. I just care for the work that's, my action to prove more than just me talking. So I really just want people to understand, my actions are way, they talk more, they speak more for me than if I come out and I explain it to somebody or tell it to somebody. It doesn't matter.
Well, if you're not going to explain it, I am. 'Cause I feel like because you don't put yourself out there a lot, you don't get the praise that you deserve. Because I know, at least from personally, because I said the whole the pillows, because we actually have a funny pillow story.
Yeah.
Because when I was in the military, I was doing Fleet Week up there, and because I was doing public relations, I was taking pictures and stuff, and that's when he was living there. And so I seen on Instagram he had the pillows, so I literally drove a Suburban full of Marines down to the middle of the Bronx to pick up this bag full of it was a bunch of pillows, little pillows, and I promise you to this day, my Marines thinks I picked up drugs. Because I parked down the block, I walked up. So they think, to this day, they think I picked up drugs. But like,
They had to come to a different side of town. That's all. You know,
Yeah.
they had to experience something different.
that wasn't on the map of like where we could like walk around. Like the Bronx, that was definitely on our no-go side of town.
Well, you know, like I'm from there. I'm born from the Bronx, so then it's home to me. Everything about the Bronx is home to me. Like that's where I guess the trials, tribulations, the being humble, the being aware of your surroundings all come from. And then like living here in Florida it's a way different pace. So then it's just kind of like even going to school here, just like how regular kids act. And I'm always the youngest. Like it was funny because I'm like 2 years younger than everyone in my class, and no one never knew.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah. So like I graduated high school when I was 17, but I used to lie all the time, tell people that I'm like their same age, like I'm 18 or I'm 19, is just as old as you are, just because I already knew. Like if I said my true age, people would say, "Oh, you're a baby," and whatever it is. And then I was just like, I'm not gonna pretty much put myself into a situation where to get made fun of. I'm like, that's an idiot. So let me just like move to this side just to survive, and make sure like all right, cool. We hang out, we do all the same shit. You don't have to know like legit I'm younger than you, but I am. And the whole time, and I'm learning like the stuff I learned. In New York, you start school when you're like 3 or 4. Here, you start school when you're 5 or 6. So there's that gap.
True.
But I picked up things way faster than other kids. So like, it was just normal. It's just the regular thing for me. So I kind of always knew that. I'm like, all right, well then let me just make sure like I use it to my advantage for whatever I do and how I do it. Just make sure like I'm really like on top of everything, and I don't know, just kind of want to just get it done. It's just how you say, like an ambition to have. A crazy ambition.
One of the things I've noticed, because like when I got out the military and I started getting into photography, like you were one of I'm not gonna say one of the people, you were probably like the first person like to really help me out, invite me to events, introduce me to people. And we'd always have conversations about building that community. You always call it like building your universe.
Yeah.
What got you on that mindset of like building that community and like that intertwined? Like it's never about like, all right, I want a bunch of people under me, but it's everybody building their own thing, but we're all working together as one. Like what made you get into that?
That conversation started with, I'll say honestly, with Twtr. And how I was like, because when I moved back, I started designing for him, being his creative director. So then I was, at that point, the way I was explaining how I viewed his world, and then he kind of like threw it back at me and like, well, that's the thing. Like, it needs to be a world. And, like, yes, we all live here all together. We all play in the same playground. But individually, we all want to be known differently for something else. So really, we all are in our own worlds. And then there's a portal in that world to go into my world. And then, likewise to other people. So that kind of like, that was like brainstorm off that. And then from there, we just kind of kept going back and forth of like how the world needs to be looked, how it needs to feel, how you want it to be, how you want people to perceive it. It goes into more deeper conversations than that, where it's like, okay, well, in your world, what are the rules to the land? What are, and how you want to play? And then that kind of like scopes you out as a human being to understand like, your morals, what are you willing to do, what you're not willing to do, and that's fine. Like you don't have, if somebody in their world allows XYZ to happen, that's okay. If you say no, you just say no. This is the playground that all the creative kids play on. But everyone in the playground wants a certain corner or a little sandbox or whatever it is.
They want their own ball.
Yeah, and then which is fine, because it's each his own, as you want. Go ahead.
I'm listening.
But with that being said, it's just kind of like, as we're here, how do we still cope with one another? How do we still play, and to make sure like we're still eating and going forward and moving forward, because the one entity is us playing side by side, but there's another entity who's outside of the playground and could pretty much like control of how the playground is looked, and just move the playground around, if you understand what I'm trying to say with that. So like that's pretty much how that all got started. And I was just like, man, like in Miami, I always felt like there was never a full underground. Like all the kids who was in the underground, they were kind of like separating their own little like corner, and they never
Most
really
definitely.
like they never truly collide with one another, or like it's all one shape. So coming from New York, everyone underground knows each other, and it's like this. So we all know who's who. We all know who's coming up. Who's the next guy. It's just like it's simple. Here is everyone they might know who you are and be like cool, but it's also like there's a lot of pride. What we like to call it is this the land of the gods. So there's a lot of pride going along, and and it's once
Pride,
again that's
ego.
fine, which is fine. But once again, you still have to understand how to move amongst the gods, and you understand how to realistically, you want to make money, you gotta work together. If you really try to make money, you gotta work together. If you're not trying to work together, that's cool. But the bag now gets divided with people from the outside who are not from here.
The people outside the playground.
And then people get upset, like, oh, well, he's not from. It's like it doesn't matter. Because you weren't trying to make the money in the first place. So it's understanding, the common sense of the knowledge of why we do things and what's the purpose for it. And then say, all right, well, once we understand that, how we now, what's the action that we need to take to make sure, what we're doing is going to, be something and it's progressive. So, it's like, well, when we came up with the store on Velvet Velour, it's just that. It's a creative hub. And my main goal is just, for all the creative people in South Florida to just come together. No matter if you do music, painting, photography, if you're into the cars, it doesn't matter. Bring it all in. And then it's just an easier place where people connect with the next person. Like, okay, well, I met him here, and I met her there, and she does this, and he does that. And it's just like, now you won't have questions like, yo, how do I start, how do I get into it, how do I jump into it? It's just like, it's easier. Because when you hit me up at that time, I was living in New York, and I was like, yo, just come with me here. Come with me over there.
Yep.
Because it was just that simple. There was already the places, done for that. And if you're here in Florida, you're like, where do I start? Because sometimes there's places that are not that known, or you might need to know someone to know somebody, or you feel like, maybe,
One thing I noticed about the events that you would always invite me to is, because even though you would invite me to events, you would be moving around doing your own thing, but I still felt comfortable enough to everybody around there was there to network. A lot of times you go to stuff down, especially down in Miami, where people aren't really there to socialize. They're not there to talk to somebody new. They're barely even there to talk to somebody they came with because the speakers is too loud. So I've noticed that with a lot of you guys' events, everybody there is willing to work. Pretty much my entire network that I've made from my photography, opening up my studio, has been built just from going to those events and just meeting new people.
Well, I'm just trying to break the ice. That's it. If there's a way to break the ice, I'm trying to figure that out and then do so, and then keep repeating that. Just to make it comfortable, make it more the atmosphere just to be more welcoming, to be like, all right, well, then what do you do? This is funny because sometimes rappers will want to work with another rapper, and then if one of the rappers doesn't want to work with him, he'd be like, oh, okay, well, they don't fuck with me. Well, that doesn't, it's not 100%. It's I still fuck with you. Just right now, I'm focused on my own shit. And a lot of people don't understand how to communicate that. So it's kind of well, I can still fuck with you. If you want to feel like that, oh, I still fuck with you, then let's make money something else in another platform or in another way. It don't have to be legit that we're making the same collaborative music. So I want people to understand that with everything else. There's a time and place for stuff. So sometimes the collaboration will happen tomorrow, or it might happen the next 10 years. There's a time and place for when the right moment, the right things to fall in line. Just because you're in the moment right now, you're like, yo, but I need it right now. That's cool, but I don't need it right now. So you have to understand where I'm coming from and then where you're coming from. And it's I still fuck with you, and it's not it's no malice. But let's figure out another way how we can make money, or let's figure out another way how, we could tap in and do something together without making it seem like I don't fuck with you because I just didn't do what you asked me to do. That's all.
How do you balance that? Because I know at Velvet Velour, you got 3 different people. It's you, 12, and then Udo for 50 Carats.
Yeah.
So how do you guys balance how you guys have your own individual brands, and they're all successful brands, and then you also have this new brand that you're trying to build together. How do you balance that out without bumping heads?
It's simple. Like when it comes to everybody's individual brand, everyone is their own CEO, boss, leader. They do what they want to do. They might, we all might ask each other like for advice. What do you guys should do? But it doesn't mean that the advice I'm giving you is the final call. It's just an advice. So at the end of the day, if Udo asks me for advice, I'll give him my personal, honest opinion. But he's the boss at the end of the day for 50 Carats, so he's gonna move however he wants to move. Same thing with 12 with Halo Blue. Whatever he wants to do, he's gonna do. He's gonna make that decision and and execute it. So that's how everyone solves their own individual brands. As far as coming together with Velvet Velour, it's just making sure that we are actively in the community and actively pushing out younger kids and making sure like more people get involved. That's not that hard. That's like honestly, it's not hard at all. Like it's, we can do a party, we can do an event. Let me reach out to Udo will reach out to his clientele. So was 12, so will I, and then we just bring all those clientele together into one roof. And then that's pretty much how people are like what you're looking at, the progress and everything is just like it's a helping hand. This helping hand for we've been here for 2 years, and the way we're figuring it out. The first 2 years we're like, let's try this.
The floor plan changes every time I go there. It's a completely different, completely different setup.
It is, but you understand what we're figuring out also what's the permanent aesthetic, or if it's not the permanent aesthetic, what's the permanent flow? Mm-hmm. And Miami's keep changing, so you got to change with Miami as well. You can't be stubborn this is what I want. Fine, that's cool, but it doesn't mean that everyone's going to oblige by it, or they're gonna I already like this. So you really kind of know how how to find a little balance flow. But honestly, then we also put younger people to work to pretty much assist with Velvet Velour as well, which is John, Apex, Kai, and Angel, and then they come and assist, and they do their events and stuff like that. So it's just pretty much like I said, it's an open platform. We don't really have to take full control of the store and how you just give the creative control to somebody else for this month, or another person for this week, and we're just testing things out to be all right, this works, this doesn't work, keep going.
I know it's a store, but a lot of y'all do a whole lot more than just sell it, because you have your own brands that you sell, but you also do art galleries. We did a runway show, performances and stuff like that. So is that the mission? Even though you call it a store and y'all want to sell your brand and stuff, is the primary mission really, like you said, pushing those newer artists and giving people that platform pretty much to show off their art, and their creativity?
Honestly, I wouldn't even call it a store. It's a creative hub. That's all what it is. It's a creative hub. We're just trying to give you a platform to showcase your artwork, your format, and hopefully that'll take you somewhere else. The plan is just here's a platform, and then in our platform, as you talk with one of us, we'll teach you about other things, about how to structure out your business, how to make sure to keep this going. Because my business, if I'm successful alone, it's not going to give it justice. I need other brands around me to be just as successful. You have to understand that if I blew up tomorrow as the best brand in Miami, I'm only one brand. So if I'm if I'm running around and say, Miami got all the heat's coming from Miami, people will be like, no, it's not. It's just you. So I need other people around me to just be successful as well. So if Miami wants to claim, we taking over the culture. All right, what's the list? Who's coming out of there? What's the brands? What's the who's the photographers? Who's the rappers? It's a list of these things that so people can understand. All right, yeah, it is coming from Miami. So it's not just one person. It needs to be more than one person every time. So if that's so my battle that I'm facing is the fact is trying to put on Miami onto you can't snub us no more. You can't snub if you're talking about music, if you're talking about clothing, you're talking about but there's a lot of work to do. So it's not gonna come overnight. Trust me. This conversation we have right now is not gonna be this kid's wilding. But in time, we might be somewhere else in a different zone. And then people will be like, giving the flowers to Miami too. The creatives here are fire. The creatives here, so people don't feel like they have to move out to get the respect that that they need, then to come back in. So, it's just timely matter, bro. Discipline and patience.
You look out for a lot of people, and you're pretty much trying to be like the big bro of the younger people. Who are some people that looked out for you when you were coming up? Like, who are some people you kind of looked up to? Who set the tone for you?
Well, so I'll give flowers to Fly Supply because they came to Art Institute to come look for interns and shit like that. And then, from that, I just kind of they kind of put me on the game, showing me these are young brothers who are just making a whole line from scratch, showing me how they got money, showing me how the sales is. So let's say I started with them, right? Then I gotta give flowers to Daryl for showing me, the art game.
Shout out Daryl.
So that's something else. Then in New York, there's countless. There's I used to be around pretty much the same group of people all the time, but every single one of them, Sanaya, Ty, Droopy, Gil, Sachi, every single one of them added something. We're creating some shit new every day, something that's just always trying to top the next person. Oh, that's what you wearing? Cool, but I got this on. And then kind of it's just that challenge of that's fire, but look what I just did. So just it's building that I'm always around people older than me, so I don't honestly there's too many. The list goes on. There's always been so many people who looked out. And you can always learn shit from people even who didn't look out for you. So to me it's just different. I'm I look at everyone, even the people who tried me. I'm damn, thank God they tried me, cause that situation that they put me through made me learn XYZ. So it definitely got me to become a way better person and understand things more from all different angles. So then now I can when I'm giving game to somebody else, I can give you games even to the side of yo, that's what people will do to you, because it did happen. And then so I'm not giving game only on the grit and on the great life. Yeah, man, you want to live like this.
You're not selling dreams.
Hell no, because I can't sell you dreams. It's your dreams.
True that. Well, I was actually pretending to care about you. I want to have this real conversation about these comfy ass fucking sneakers, bro. Shout out the Carellas. What made you come up and want to come with your own brand, bro? Let's get the boxes on.
Nah, give me another one first.
Well, what made you want to do sneakers? Literally design your own sneaker from scratch, not even working with another brand. It's you.
Hold up. First off, I designed a sneaker for my homeboy in New York for his brand called When Smoke Clears. And then after designing for him, I started seeing the success of how his brand started moving after that. And I started realizing man, I really do have a talent for this. I always, I told you, I always loved designing. So I've been designing for past 10 years. And I'm always throwing myself into different fields. But I knew at the end goal is to come back to sneakers. But at the same time, it's just all right, when you know the process of making sneakers, it's expensive. So you have to understand all right, well, let me work my way to something else and eventually come back to this. Once I saw his brand and how it worked out for him, I realized what I need to do, and I started attempting it, for myself for the past, I'll say it's been the past 3 years now. And this is the final product of over 40 different samples of sneakers. So these are called the Ojin C1s, and the name Ojin is just Nigo backwards, which is Nigo from Baiting Ape, the creator of Baiting Ape and Human Made. So it's just his name backwards. So it's my homage because he's the first guy I've seen who made his own sneaker without it a Nike or a corporation who's doing it. He's the first man I've seen oh man, he's got his own shoe with nobody else. That's crazy. So yeah, it's my inspiration off him. And yeah, So this my design in general is just pretty much my art aesthetic all around. As you see, like everything's like 3M, all the grays 3M, and then the colorways. This goes based off of like me being an artist, so like the colors I use, and yeah, I just want something that's fun, fashionable, but also comfortable. Cause high-end sneakers are really design of the high-end sneakers are immaculate, like it's beautiful, but it's super uncomfortable. So I'm trying to make something comfortable that also looks like it's, elegant as well. So that's why I'm telling you my whole brand is elegant street art.
These shoes are definitely like these are legitimately the most comfortable shoes I've worn.
you.
I bought them for my birthday outfit for my party on Saturday. I have worn them every day since. These shits are so comfortable.
Thank you.
So we talk privately. I know like you have an interesting like release with these. Like you only released the colorway one time.
Yeah, so it's 300 of each color. After that, I'm no longer pushing that color, and then we just move on to the next color. So ideally, this is another medium of my artwork. So it's just now I'm still selling you art. You might look at it as just I'm selling you sneakers. Ideally, yes, but I'm selling in the art format. So once it's done, it's done. I move on to the next color, and then if the resale value for these get higher, let it be what it is. But it's artwork at the end of the day. It's not. It's more to me of art than it's just of footwear. I'm trying to make functional art at the end of the day. So, yeah.
Would you ever like plan on turning this like a full like mass production sneaker line, or do you want to just keep it to where like?
I do. But it's still gonna be presented as art, regardless of how much sneakers get pushed out or whatever. It's still gonna be art. At the end of the day, the design concept it just goes back. It stems back from there. So, even who I work with or who I collab with, I want to make sure like it hits any of the 3 points of elegant or street or art. It needs to hit those 3 points, and that's how Carela overall is. Like the brand is what we represent. Ideally, like if you're a kid and you saw, let's say you saw Gucci for the first time, and no one ever told you it's a high-end brand, and you like, some of the bags or some of the shoes, whatever it is, it's not, like ideally, like no one said this price point has to be like at this high. Like it's your taste in a sense. You feel me? So it's not more about like, oh, you use like expensive things. This is a taste I have. So I'm pushing that out, whereas like I have this certain taste of things, how I like things, how I want things to sit, how I want it to fit, what I want to see when they come in your house. That's all. But it doesn't mean that the taste now needs to cost me like $10,000. You get what I'm trying to say? So it's like it's just my taste. So I try to make sure like what I'm designing, what I'm making, it's also like, affordable, realistically it might not be affordable to everyone, but I make artwork in all different mediums and different levels to make it affordable to somebody.
I mean, people are paying $500 for the same pair of Jordans every 5 years.
It's nostalgic though. You get what I'm saying? So like, it's something about the Jordans that make them feel something. And at the end of the day, why we purchase what we purchase because of how we feel. So, that's marketing. Marketing makes you just buy things off impulse or whatever it is to make you. It's a feeling. That's all that is.
Jumping into the sneaker game isn't a little intimidating because the sneaker games are real like. The established brands are the established brands. Everyone wants to get Nike. Everyone wants to get Jordan. So like, it's not a little intimidating trying to like break into that and try to get everyone past just wanting to get Nikes and Jordan. Because someone might see this on like the street, and a lot of sneakerheads, just because it's not a pair of Jordans or it's not something they already know, they're gonna be like, oh, I don't fuck with those. They don't even give it a real look. Like, look at the sneaker, make sure it's a good sneaker. This is more like, oh, if it's not Nike, if it's not Jordan, I'm not fucking with it.
Look, it's just consistency. There's a time where there was no Nikes in the world, and it was only Converse. And Nike wasn't the underdog where it was like they're just trying to butt in. In time. Like I'm not saying, and even when Nike came out, it wasn't like they're the sensational like shoe all across the world. No, it took time. It takes time. So this is a game of longevity. It's not a game of I'm popping right now. Like you don't really want trend. You don't want to be a trend. If you're a trend, after the trend is done, then what else are you? You understand? So like this is a longevity game. This is something that it's like I'm passionate about. It's what I love. So I know I can see myself 20 years, 30 years, 40 years still in it, still designing, still making something new. So you have to understand, even those bigger brands, everyone started from somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Everyone started from somewhere, so you can't be afraid because these brands are very successful now. Yeah, but these brands have been established for over like 50 years, and you came out year one. So why are you comparing a year one brand with a brand that's been out for like 50 or 100 years? It makes no sense. Like, I feel like that's the issue right now with a lot of creators, where it's like the comparison. Stop comparing. You know, like ideally, like just stop comparing. Like you just can't. It makes no sense for you. You could push out great quality product, great things. Continue doing it though, because these brands been pushing out the same stuff like for like over for decades. Mm-hmm. So you can't don't compare right away. Like, oh well, compare me to like the next Louis Vuitton. Nah, just compare me. Just don't compare me to anyone. Just look at my brand as this is something new. You know, I'm in my ideally, realistically, I'm in my own field. I'm not competing with anybody. I'm just in my own field. I'm making my own shoe. I'm designing it out. But I'm also, you also have to understand, I'm bringing together home decor, footwear, and art into like one structure. It hasn't been done before. So at this point where I'm at, it's just kind of like, all right, well, I'm setting the tone and the pillar right now as it is. Mm-hmm. So in time, if other brands copy me, it is what it is. But the point which you're looking at is the fact that like I myself am setting a tone for something else to happen. So just how Nike set a tone, like if you like think about it, bro. If there's all these footwear companies and they're just that great, then it'll just stop there.
Truth.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's just there's.
You need to create that competition so life can keep moving and evolving.
I wouldn't say it's to create a competition. I'll just say like. The inspiration never ends. It's like a rabbit hole. This doesn't end. Mm-hmm. It's like you've seen those companies, seen the success from those companies, and you've seen the designs they put out. That gives you hope that like I want to do mine. I want to do my take. Go ahead. No one's stopping you. Just go and try. You get what I'm saying? So like that's all what that is. Like all these brands in the world, and there's gonna be way more brands in the next like 10 years. But we're gonna be there, and and obviously the work we're pushing out is quality over quantity. So that's why I make sure, like, for everything what it is what you're saying, it makes sense. It's gonna cope with you, around full circle. It's functional artwork that I'm trying to make.
Well, let's get off of competing. What about collaborations? Are you planning on collaborating with other brands when it comes to your shoes, like major brands, local brands?
So the first brand right now I collab with is called Crystal. Mm. Let me see that one.
Oh, that's the fancy box.
So, this one, he's from LA, and his brand's called Crystal. As you see in this sneaker, it gives you a whole different aesthetic. So, compare it to to my sneaker, how it is. With this sneaker, we just brought the elegant out more. So we got crystallized laces, gold C pendant, gold anklets, and gave it a different touch. Put make sure there's like more holes for the shoelaces. Just something different once again, but it touches on the elegant part of my brand. So I was like, I have to think let's definitely do something like this. It just takes out more. Yeah, I'm always open to collaborations as long as it makes sense, as always.
How did this collaboration come about?
We actually just linked in SneakerCon in LA, and then I showed my shoe, and he was just like kind of like blown away. He's like, "Yo, this is your shoe?" I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "There's no one," and I'm like, I'm the only one in Miami who has his own sneaker line. So he's just like, I haven't seen in the market. There's a lot of people making their own sneaker with Air Force Ones or with Air Jordans. But no one's made their own sneaker with a different aesthetic.
Like what you're seeing now. Design.
Exactly. So at this point, from what you're saying, it's just kind of like, damn, this is different, but I like it. That is different. Mm-hmm. It's not that it's different. It's going to take me some time to adjust to it. It's just actually, I look at it and I like it. It's funny because I have my dad, who I would never expect him to wear these shoes, and he wears these shoes. Like every time he goes out, I'm kind of like, all right, it's cool. But in my head, I'm like, damn, is he wearing because, he's just saying, like, I'm your dad, I'm trying to support, or he's wearing because he actually fucks with the shoe. But he actually, he says it's real comfortable and he just likes the way it feels, and he wears it daily, and it's just kind of funny because it's like I know this is not his style.
Mm-hmm.
But once again, I'm like, you know what? I'm like, don't worry. One day I'll make a shoe just for
You'll
in
make a
your
dad
style.
shoe?
Yeah, make a dad shoe just so for his style, just to like calm it down. It doesn't have to be so flashy or anything like that. But he likes it, enjoys it.
So what's next for Carela? Like, what you got, like, as just like a person, as a brand, like, what's next for you? Like, you're in for longevity. What's the end goal?
The end goal is to be an art house overall.
Mm-hmm.
And using my platform to help out push out other artists, painters, and just to get out and express their artwork in different formats of just a traditional format of like I said, like of a canvas. That's like ideally the end goal. I'm trying to make sure everyone's like just can express themselves in a way they feel comfortable, but it's also at the end of the day like they can make money, and they can like be liberated, be free. Actually, be like, all right, well, as an artist, your dream is just to make sure that your work pays for your lifestyle and the way you live, and that's what it is to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
So at that point, it's just kind of like, all right, well, if I can stay home and paint all day and make money just from painting, I'll do so. But sometimes things don't work out the way it does, so you have to be a little more creative, and you gotta figure out another outlet to like, all right, well, how about this and how about this? Like, what if this works? And if this works, then cool, that's your bread and butter. Keep doing that, or continue, living your life. So just trying to make things easier for people. That's it.
That's a nice answer, but I want the real answer. What is you see Carela? Like, I get you want to help everyone else out, but I want to know, where do you see Carela going? Like you, Alejandro.
Where you want to see me going?
Yeah, I want to know where you see yourself going.
Just sit back and wait. You're gonna see it. You're gonna see what I'm about to do. Just sit back and wait. But ideally, if you look at it, just tag along, man. Honestly, like everything about Carela's is, it's a family. This is everything what I'm building. It's about families, and it's about like just.
Anybody you want to shout out before we get out of here?
Shout out, Velour Miami. Shout out to OGC Ones. Shout out 12, shout out Udo, shout out Daryl, shout out JB. Man, that's the whole gang. Thank you guys. Love.
Thank you for having. Thank you for coming through.
You already know it. Got this shit like, it's shining hard, bro. That shit.